live here at the Station of Decapitation Without Your Head. I'm NastyNeal, and I'm joined by Hannah Cheesman. A lot of cool stuff. Mama, Star Trek Discovery, and your new short film, which is hard for me to say, Marriaginalia, will be premiering at TIFF.
Yeah. Marriaginalia. It's like marginalia. This is not a word I knew before making this film. That marginalia is what people write in the margins of books when they're taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I literally found
marriaginalia.
out. Yeah, I literally found out that word when I was looking up your movie title just to see if this is a word I didn't know about, and then I discovered the other word. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
we're both learning,
yeah,
Neil.
it's
We're both learning.
educational. Yeah.
Yeah.
So TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival, the premiere, which that's gonna be very exciting, I assume.
Yeah, totally. I actually learned today that the premiere is sold out, I think
Oh,
already, which is great, but I'm also like, get us a bigger theater. That's what I'm like. But yeah, no, I'm stoked. It's part of the like it's like the Midnight Madness offshoot, right? So it's the strange cuts, which
oh,
feels
nice.
like special and sparkly and not that it's just shortcuts, but it's cool to be in a more specific category, you know?
I'm a big fan of short blocks at festivals because you get to see so many cool things from different people, and if there's one you don't like, it'll go by short. But no, it's fun to watch all these different things, and it's really the only time you're going to see a short film on the big screen, for the most part.
No kidding. No kidding. Totally. Yeah, I agree with you on that. It's rare to see anything that short form unless you're watching TikTok or something. So yeah, it's a treat. It's a treat to see so many different takes, so many different points of view, so many different realized stories. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
rad.
So, what inspired the story?
Yeah, so it was a bit of a wacky, not surprising coming about of things. So my commercial production company, I direct commercials and I mostly direct comedic commercials, comedy commercials. So my reps out of Canada, they were like, "Hey, like, you should make something new." And I was like, "Great, I agree." And then they agreed to support me in that and, to my benefit, to their benefits as well. And so I knew I wanted to do something that was short, like really short in this case. I wanted to be able to do something that was feasible and shootable in a day, but also that maybe had the chance to live in, a film festival. So I came up with truly 20 different ideas, and I wrote probably like 15 short scripts. And I came up with this one idea and had some feedback, creative feedback that maybe these are the characters you want to do, and you want to see them doing lots of different things at home. And from there, ideated further and came up with another 20, like ironing, making dinner, taking out the trash, arriving home, like all of the mundane things of life that we do every day, and trying to spin them all into something that was odd, interesting, but really a zoom in microscope look at the simplest moments of life that can also expose things in such a specific way. It's almost like getting that close up shows you truths that you could tell across the feature film or in a 1 minute triptych piece. So I just ideated and kept going from there and iterating on that, and then landed on 3 of what I think were the strongest written versions, and then went full steam ahead with prepping and shooting that back in late January, early February of this year.
Now, I saw in the notes it mentioned pandemic, like kind of the idea. So you didn't write it during the pandemic, but was that anything in your mind while you're writing this?
Yeah, I think what it ended up feeling like to me was in the question of, why these people, why this couple, why now, what is this? That question. I thought to myself, it feels like this is a pair, whether they're married or a long-term couple, who, like so many people, went into lockdown during the pandemic, went into isolation, just the two of them in their pod, and then this particular couple never left. So everything that they did that crystallized their patterns and the eccentricities of their relationship just sort of crystallized through time. And I like to imagine, and I told the actors that too, I was like, just imagine that this is a couple who went into lockdown and literally never left. And it doesn't mean it's unhealthy. It doesn't mean it's negative, but it's deeply specific and maybe not everybody's cup of tea.
Yeah, that's then you mentioned that. I wrote in my notes because, like, I think you could take this like in a negative or positive way, or just like neither. It's just like you accept
Right.
the new norms, and this is just the way things are. And I think some people, I think it would depend on people's point of view, which I think will be interesting for you to talk to the people, the audience afterwards, and see how they take it.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I'll be curious to hear if people saw it in a negative sense because I know it's grotesque, but it's not. To me, it's really people making the best of it and deciding to, not even deciding to, just like people who like each other, even when things are strange and weird, because it's not strange and weird to them, you know?
Right. Yeah. And if it was at some point, after a while, it isn't. Uh,
Yeah, exactly. We can get used to almost anything as humans, right? So,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm a big fan of just the baked potato dialogue going back and forth
Mm,
between baked potato and baked potato. I find that very funny and was well written. And uh,
cool.
yeah, even the idea of because it's 3 minutes, writing something that has
Three
like a
minutes and
story.
36
I'm
seconds,
sorry,
Neil.
3:36. Very specific. You should have 3:33 if you could edit
I know.
3 seconds
That's
out. It
so
would be
true.
yeah.
Damn.
And then people
Anyway,
were like, "Is there a secret meaning here with all the threes?"
yeah, I want a lot of like cult Reddit threads, you know? Should have done that. That's a great idea. Too bad. Too bad I missed out on
Yeah.
the cult following with that.
So you mentioned, well, first of all, you mentioned people like, oh, you should do something new. What is like the goal with the short film? Because many people have
Yeah.
different things. Like the idea, like this is I want to do a feature off this, or this is what I can do, or this is just a story I wanted to tell in this amount of time.
Yeah, totally. And I agree with you. I think every time I've done a short film, it's always been different. My goals have always been different. I think that in this case, I really wanted to tell a very succinct story that had a very clear world and a very clear vibe and a very clear tone and feel to it and relationship and comedy. Like those were really my goals was to make something that was a bit undeniable in those senses. And from there, however, I really have started to develop it into, because this is a grotesque comedy, but I'm developing it. I'm just before meeting with you, I was writing as I'm doing mid writing this right now, is develop it into a high concept horror. So it's like a grotesque horror, but I think you can see the seedlings of that in the short itself because it's not like a grounded naturalistic
Yeah, yeah,
story of two people. It's heightened. It is so high concept horror or genre with some comedic elements, like still trying to bring forward some of these pieces in here, but turning it even more twisted. So that's really my goal with this, is to have this as a bit, I don't want to say calling card, that almost feels like a dirty word, but in a way, it speaks to who these people are, which might be hard to describe otherwise.
yeah. I'm very interested because when I was thinking, because a lot of times you watch a short and I think, oh, they want to make this into a feature or something, but I didn't really see how this would work as a feature. But now that you explained that, I think it definitely could. There's a specific scene I think that you could probably expand on.
Yeah, exactly. I think you could probably expand on all three, but
Right, right.
there are a few more where the rules of the world are pretty strange. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because
Are
it's
you a
it's it's like story light. I understand that. You know what I mean? So I'm bringing a lot more story into an expansion.
yeah? Are you a horror fan? You're kind of just building the world in the short, I guess.
Yeah, I think I'm building the world in the short. That's exactly right. I can be a horror fan. I think it really depends. I like things like that are a bit horror thriller. Um, or psychological horrors like Midsummer, which has
Midsummer's great.
the gruesome in it as well. I think also like Eraserhead is its own kind of horror,
Yeah,
right?
great midnight.
And
Like yourself, can play Midnight. It's a midnight movie. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I there are definitely certain. I'm very specific about the kinds of horror I like. Good Night, Mommy, is that the one I'm thinking of? That
Oh,
Austrian
with the
film.
kids, yeah.
Yeah, with the kids. Like this is like these are worlds that I'm just like really have an appetite for.
Yeah, they did the American remake, like, show. I never watched it, but the original movie was
Neither.
great. I had the directors on. It was
Oh, did you? Man, it
yeah,
was so great. It was
yeah,
like so airtight in its realization. I think it's an extraordinary film. I mean, I think Midsummer is an extraordinary film too.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Last year we went to my friend and I went to see it. They showed it outside in the woods during the
Oh,
summer. That and Wicker Man, the old
oh yeah, for
cemetery movie.
sure. For
And
sure.
I thought there was
Yeah.
birds flying over us, but it was bats. And I was like,
Ooh, even creepier.
yeah,
How
if we had a chip.
accurate.
I
Wow.
don't think they had a bat wrangler. I think they were just there in the woods.
Damn. I doubt they had a bat wrangler. Where was this?
Near Boston, near Brookline.
Huh.
It's a theater, Brookline, the Coolidge Corner Theater. They do midnight movies, but they also do some weird stuff once in a while, like out in the woods or in like cemeteries and stuff.
Wow, that's so cool. I love that. I just feel like that, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that I've always had this part of me, like when I was born, I was obsessed with death. I came into the world obsessed with death, and this was a part of my family lore. It still is. My first comic book was about a skeleton that stank really badly called Stinky, and the comic book was called Stinky Forever. Like I was obsessed with blood and eyeballs and bats. And in some ways, I feel like I'm coming back to that with myself a little bit. I just feel like thrillers and horrors give you so much latitude to discuss scary,
Yeah.
hard things.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Same with science fiction, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then you can do it in a way where it's still like can be entertaining, even if someone doesn't want to think about all that stuff. You just the surface level, but then you can talk about other things underneath it.
Yeah, yeah, big time. Exactly. And I think I'm just really attracted to that these days. I think I'm really interested in symbols. I've gotten really into Carl Jung. So I'm interested in stories that use symbols and symbology to tell things in a less explicit way. And so I'm becoming more enamored of genre than I ever have been before.
Jamie Hill is here. Hello. She's from Skinamarink, which I don't know if you've ever seen Skinamarink.
Oh, yeah, I believe I have actually.
Very
Super
weird
cool.
film. By the way, film festivals. What are the benefits do you think of playing a festival? And I don't know if are you attending the festival?
Oh yeah, definitely attending. The first time I had a short film at TIFF, it was during the pandemic, and I couldn't attend.
Hmm.
It was a backyard
Yeah.
party with 30 people, 25 people. So I'm very excited to be in an actual theater with people who are going to see it. I think it depends. I think different film festivals bring different things. One of the things that film festivals do is they bring community, and I think
Mhm.
another thing they do is in a festival like TIFF, which is a top 5, top 10 film festival, you seriously get real eyes. Like you get real producers, real production companies, agents, reps, coming to look at your stuff, and they're looking for the next thing. And in some ways, it feels like the big bad evil people coming to town, but in other ways, it feels like it's where opportunity can really meet other opportunity. It feels like a meeting point between initial ideas and a bigger world and a bigger dream and a bigger creation. So I think just like getting to share with an audience too and see what people think is so vital because, Neal, for all I know, people are going to be like, that didn't make any sense. And that was 3 minutes and I don't get it. And they're going to hate it. I don't know. But there's also a world where it will speak to the right people and where this could lead to the right people I could talk to about the way I'm growing it. And, maybe in 3 years' time, you and I will be talking about the feature film. Who knows? But I feel like festivals allow for that sometimes.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Similar thing though about the pandemic. My first short film, I played a lot of festivals, but it was going to play Boston Underground Film Festival, which is my local festival I go every year. And it was
Cool.
literally 2 weeks before it was like 2 weeks before they canceled it because of the pandemic. So I never got to see it
Jeez.
in my local festival, which was very sad.
Oh, such a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bummer. Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of festivals for all the reasons you said. The community feel, everyone's kind of on the same level. Like after the film, everyone just loves movies or weird stories. So everyone talks. If
Yeah.
you're just there to watch movies, if you're a filmmaker or what, or anything in between.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I do find them stressful though sometimes, like, because I feel very especially if you have a show in it or you're in it as an actor, as I sometimes am, you feel very exposed, and I feel like it can be a lot of, even if nobody's really paying attention to you, it can feel like you've got to like, gussy up and have the right conversations with the right people. And I find that to be kind of overwhelming sometimes. But to your point, like TIFF Toronto is where I'm from. So it also feels like it's a bit of a hometown advantage. And then I can just go to my apartment if I'm feeling overwhelmed,
Yeah, I'm out of here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which came first? Did you want to direct stuff, write stuff, or act, or are they kind of all connected to you?
No, there was a very clear progression for me. I started, well, I mean, I guess I did start writing before I did anything else. But then in high school, I started auditioning for plays and writing them too, but not really directing them or anything like that. But I think I got the most attention from acting, and I was a teenager, so I was like, I want more
Yeah.
of that. And so I kept doing that, and like went to a conservatory called the National Theatre School of Canada, and then sort of started doing that in a professional sense for a while, and very quickly was like, man, this doesn't feel fully it. It was scary to be like so on call for other people's decision making, and also I didn't get to feel like I was really realizing myself as a creative person, as an author, frankly. And so, yeah, from there, I started writing my own stuff. Like, I had done it with plays, and I just turned that into writing my first short when I was in my mid 20s, and shooting that, and then shooting a web series. And then from there, starting to direct other people's work as well, and then writing on other people's shows and things like that. Still my great love to be doing my own work as a writer director.
Yeah.
Because it's yours so clearly. But I still do all three.
A lot of people on the show have told me the same thing, and it's always female directors, which I find interesting, that they couldn't find roles that they wanted for them, like they were just felt pigeonholed in whatever people saw them as. So they would write stuff for themselves that they could also be in.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I think that point of view is maybe very specifically from someone who really, really feels and wants to be an actor, and an actor first. For me, I really think that it's a female thing to start as an actor because you're taught to be perceived and be witnessed and to be watched and to be liked and to be pretty. And then you realize that that doesn't feel very good. And so women will then be like, right, all of the men have been corralled into the authorship, and all of the women have been corralled into the pick me category. And then, I actually think it's a pretty natural trajectory given the world that we live in, that women often do start in that space, but that's not necessarily where they inherently should live, or where that particular person might want to live in their life's work, or make sense for them to live, So I think for me, I didn't start writing because I was like, I don't get the roles I want to get. I mean, I'm just, in some ways, as an actor, like I'm a bit of a journeyman actor where like I'll take what I can get,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I'm not gonna moan and complain because it's just, there's no point. For me, it was much more of like a desire to create stuff, and I really think had our world been different and women were corralled more directly into thinking of creative ideas and realizing them, as opposed to being placed in a man's creative idea,
or to pursue whatever interested you.
Yeah, that's another way of putting it, Neal. If I wanted to get off my soapbox for a moment.
No,
Yeah.
no, but yeah, no. I think it's maybe some people it depends what you want to do.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Yeah.
And I do feel that like independent film and festivals were like way ahead of the curve on that, because it wasn't that long ago. Like it was like very rare that like it's still pretty rare that that a female director would be up for like an Oscar or anything. But at festivals, like I see many. Well, I see a lot of things made by female directors, but from what I understand, like they still don't always go to the festivals themselves as much as the men.
Yeah, I don't know what the stats are. To be
At least that's
honest.
what I've been told by people.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
who run festivals.
Yeah. I mean, I like, would we really be that surprised if that was the case? It makes sense. And I am a
But I know
believer
many
in,
personally who do. So.
yeah, I mean, I know a lot of women filmmakers now too, and thank God. I mean, I do, statistically, we all know that, women directors do get fewer opportunities, women writers, that kind of a thing. But you gonna let that stop you? You know?
I do want to ask something about Mama, because I've had Javier Botet on the show. He's a really cool
Cool.
guy and super sweet guy, really nice guy. And he always
Aw.
mentioned mentioned the interview that like people think he's CG in the movie, that but that's him. And so I guess just the experience of being in Mama and Javier himself. What was he like to be around? And your characters are kind of the same things.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's such a good point. I'm pretty sure that Javier and I never really met.
Okay.
And if we did, he was in full garb, So we didn't have tons of face to face that way. But, I don't think I realized at the time that it would be such a big movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know it had all the trappings of that, it was huge. But I think I just was, I don't know, starstruck in a way with the whole experience of it, and Guillermo, and like seeing him in a car and waving and just being sort of excited by it. And 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 it was interesting. I remember, because it was just after I graduated from theater school, and I remember like the casting director being like, "Yeah, I knew I wanted they would want somebody who was like theatrical, And so they got me, and I remember Andy Muschietti being like, I see like Modigliani, like those faces with those black eyes that go upwards like this, and those Modigliani paintings of your. So I just remember sort of like the creature creation moments of it more than anything else, and then seeing the way that it's stitched together at the end, like it's just wild. It's wild that I'm a part of that thing, I mean,
Yeah.
because it is a big film, and it's weird too to think that it's almost like a merging of characters, him and I, sharing a character.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was it's really interesting. It's like it's like a collaboration with a person who you never actually collaborate with. It's sort of like your pen pals, and then you put your collected works together out there for people to see. Yeah, it was really cool.
And I've not seen a Star Trek Discovery. You know, I'm a huge fan of Star Trek, but I have this goal to watch them all in order. So I'm actually in the middle of Deep Space Nine at the moment. But
wow.
so I don't know why I decided that. I was like, I can't watch them all unless I watch them all in order.
That's okay.
But
Yeah.
how did I really want to watch the new ones? But how did being part of that change your life? Not just the role itself, but like the whole Star Trek universe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, interestingly, again, that feels almost like a big collaboration, because whenever you do creature work, it's you, but it's not you, right? It's you and the mask, and it's a very different feeling than when it's just you and your face and you're performing. So it's sort of this weird, like it's almost arm's length again. It's almost like this feeling of like I was in it, but like how much was I in it? It's a version of me that's so far from who I really am, which makes it really cool too. Yeah, I mean, it's a tentpole series. It's its own universe. Like again, this is one of those check myself things. This is another one of those moments where I'm like, I'm a part of that. I'm a part of that. And it was incredible to be part of something so big. Truly, just in terms of the number of sound stages, but also the directors, the budget, the special effects, the kind of resources behind that, and in the creation of that, and then thinking that it all sort of ends in a point, and that point is you in a scene, is a special and in some ways overwhelming feeling. It was intimidating, but I will say, it is one of those things where I do get to hang my hat on it and be like, yeah, I did do that, and people do bring it up, and it does have meaning in people's sort of collective consciousness, and in the pop zeitgeist of the world, and like that that feels like a little piece of like, ooh, I made it somewhere. It's like a little status tick off, but it's also was a series that I loved. Like I grew up watching TNG. So,
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
the
that
first show
was,
I ever binge watched. I binge watched the whole. My brother's a huge fan of Star Trek. He's older, and I was like, "That's looks dumb, whatever." And so I finally gave in and watched it all later in life with him, and I loved it. So then I binge watched Next Generation myself. The whole that was the first show I binge watched.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. And it was something my family, I grew up watching with my whole family, you know? So it's a wonderful thing to get to be a part of. And it sort of just changed my world more in like an idea sense and sort of like my own world building sense than any other way. But yeah, treat to be
And
a part
the
of.
perfect thing, like you were talking about, how you could talk about, like social commentary in a horror story. I mean, Star Trek, that's really the basis of it all.
It really is, yeah. And actually tonight I'm in Brooklyn right now. I'm meeting up with a fellow
Oh, cool.
Trekker who was on the show as well. So it's a Star Trek kind of day.
All right, I'll get a slice of pizza when you're in Brooklyn. I guess
All
that's what
right,
you have to do. Yeah.
will
And,
do.
so I'm going to try this again. Marriaginalia. I think that's right. Marriaginalia.
That's
So,
great.
yeah,
Perfect.
since you didn't know the word marginalia, uh, how did you come up with the title?
Yeah, so you won't believe this. I actually had a title called Scenes from a Marriage, Sick, like with marriage misspelled and then SIC, like the
Yeah.
Bergman film. And then everyone was like, Hannah, that's way too esoteric. So it was my editor's wife who came up with that title. And I was like, done. Give her a thanks and the thank yous on the film. And yeah, so Siobhan out there, shout out to Siobhan. She came up with it. Yeah.
Sweet. That's a great title, and I really enjoyed it. Not just because it's I know this is a horror show. Does it horror? I don't really care about that anyway. But it's
Mhm.
entertaining. It's funny, and
Good.
it really it sounds silly, but it did make me think. Like I was really interested in how people take it, which we talked about earlier.
Yeah. That's so cool. I hadn't even thought of that. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. I'm curious too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'd be really interested in seeing you make the feature. I think that's that'd be very interesting.
Yeah, thanks. It'll be different, right? It'll be
Yeah.
much darker, less funny, but I love the concept I've come up with so far. So it's just complicated to, features are big. It's a big
Yeah. Yeah.
unwieldy thing, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just diving
Oh,
in, trying to get
I
the crappy first
yeah.
one.
I know we gotta let you go, but I forgot to ask, casting the two leads because it's two people. So if they're not both, great in it, like the movie's not gonna work. So were they two
No
people you
kidding.
had in mind? Did you know them beforehand?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I asked them right away. When I had the idea for it, I knew they were the ones I wanted. I didn't ask anybody else. They're Toronto natives. They're comedians. In particular, Kayla does all sorts of comedy. Aside from like she considers herself a comedian and an actor, right? And they're two comedic geniuses. And they're kind and they're funny and generous. And when they said yes, I was just like, we can't fail. I just knew at that point that it was no matter what the performances, which is the most important part, we're going to sing. And they brought it, and they are friends in real life also, so that was easy. And it was just like it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to make. They're so funny, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And they play it super straight because for the comedy to work, they have to play it very straight.
They do,
Or the
yeah, and they're
movie.
smart performers. They get it. They're. I'm sure if like they can be hammy, but they knew that wasn't the job here, the task at hand, and so yeah, they just brought it, and they did it. They played it straight. It's so true, and that's what creates that tension, that creates the humor. Yeah, you're right, totally.
Well, congratulations getting in
Thank
Toronto
you,
International Film Festival. It's
thank
huge.
you, thank you. It
You're very
is
welcome. And where can people follow you to see where the movie goes and what you're up to, if you want them?
great. Yeah, of course, yeah. Honestly, I'd probably say Instagram. I'm at Hannah Cheesmans. So I should have put the correct spelling of my name here, and I didn't. But it's CHEESMAN. No E after the S. It's the
Right.
bane of my existence. But at Hannah Cheesmans is the Instagram handle.
All right. Yeah. I mean, everyone misspells Neal for me, so I
Oh
understand.
my God, no kidding. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Even when my name's there, like on social media, and it's right there in front of them, they'll still misspell it.
Same
And,
here. I'll have Hannah without an H all the time. And I'm like, 2 of everything, darling, please.
all right, very cool. Well, I really dug the movie. I hope people check it out, and they will because it's at TIFF. And it was cool to talk with you. I'd love to again sometime.
Likewise. Likewise. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna play us out with the trailer for the short.
Oh, sweet. Nice.
Hey, sweetie.
Hey, hon.
What's for dinner?
A big potato.
A baked potato?
A big potato. Does this mole look okay to you?
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you.